Hello there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to come your way this very beautiful morning. And today, I have a very unusual topic. And everyone that had seen the flyer had been asking questions. What exactly are you talking about? And I said, well, come on, let's deal it together. Just be a part of it and you'll understand what we're talking about. So a big shout out to every single person joining me live today. Thank you so much for a share of your time. I don't take it for granted at all. And for everyone that will watch after, thank you also. Thank you very much. Like I'll always ask, please like the video, share it, pass your comments. I love to get your feedback and let people out there know that there is something called Knocks to Nuggets as you share it on your social media platforms. So today we are talking about when is it okay to quit? And I have a guest in the house today that will be dealing this with me. She's a lawyer by training and a relationship coach by occupation. She helps those people whose marriages are in turbulence to navigate the waters. And she's always just there for you. She's a shoulder to lean on. She has a listening ear and she will help you through that turbulent water to come out of it at the best way possible. She is a member of the Family Systems Engineers. So she's a counselor, of course, and she's does a whole lot about ensuring people heal no matter the challenges they are facing. I'm not getting too much of it out. She's popularly known as Sissy Lawyer. Mm. So my guest this morning is no other than Aruke Omame, popularly known as Sissy Lawyer. Hey, welcome to the house, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this with me. I don't take it for granted at all. Getting you out this early, it's not a joke, and I don't take it lightly. So, the beautiful question today is when is it okay to quit? So, this entire month of March has been all about the women, and we've looked at work life balance, we've looked at equity, we've looked at last week was awesome with Joke Silva talking about our own experience in the media and entertainment and how she has balanced and navigated her way through. But there's this popular thing that women never quit in their homes. In fact, it's said that God hates divorce and it's in the Bible. And so, under no circumstance should a woman quit. Do whatever you can, just stay in that home. Ma, is that true?
Which of them? That they stay or that God hates divorce?
What is it? Is it that they must stay no matter what? I mean, so it's like you just have to be there. You are the woman, you are the home builder, you are the family maker. So whatever you are going through, just stay. Is that true?
Well, let me tell you a story. Some time ago, not more than about 2 years ago, in the world we had one lady called Osinachi. She was married to a man who allegedly beat her a lot and gave her a toxic time in their relationship.
Mm.
And as a result of either sickness or physical abuse, she died.
Mm. Mm.
But whether it was because of physical abuse or whether it was because of sickness, she didn't have a happy marriage.
Mm.
I don't talk a lot of scripture because I don't know a lot of scripture, but I know that God says that he hates divorce.
Yes.
And I know that God says he loves everybody.
Yes.
And I believe that everybody includes those who get divorced.
True.
I also
True.
have read in the Bible that God says Jesus Christ came to give us life and to give it to us abundantly.
Mm.
So when you when you do a general reading of all these various scriptures, which we choose to read in isolation, we know that yes, God hates divorce. God hates us to divorce. But God also
Hmm.
does not expect us to remain in toxic relationships.
Hmm. Hmm. God hates us to divorce, but God does not also want us to stay in a toxic relationship. That's deep. So let me ask you this. When is it okay to quit? That's just the question. When is it okay for me to quit?
That is something that only that person can answer. It's like let's move out of the family realm just for a while. It's like
Yeah.
when you're at work and your boss is beating on you every day, finds fault with everything you are doing. You may quit without another job,
True.
and you may quit because you have found another job. But because you are the one who wears the shoe, you are the one who knows when it is time to quit. So I don't have an answer. Now, I am a divorce coach. That is my specialization in the family space. I do not have an answer for anybody about when it is right to quit. Because one, I don't wear the person's shoe. But I know that for you to be a wholesome person, you have to be in a loving, intimate, cozy, and happy relationship. So maybe the answer immediately is when you know that you are no longer a wholesome person as a result of this relationship, maybe that's the time to quit.
When you are no longer a wholesome person as a result of this relationship, maybe it is time to quit. You know, one of the things you said that I'm jotting down here is the fact that only the person in that relationship knows when to quit. Many times people from outside are quick to advise. No, if I were you, I won't take it. If I were you, I will do this. If I were you. But like you just said, you are not the person. So you might not be able to. But so I come to you, man, with a challenge. What's the way to go? I mean, is there, even when I think I'm tired, is there a place for counseling that could redirect the family? Is there
Yes,
a place?
that's what we do in our specialization. So,
Yeah.
it's called divorce coach. I like to call it, that's what it's called worldwide. But I like to call it divorce and healing coach because a lot of the times we actually help in healing, in the process, so that the person gets healed, so that the person is able to have clarity in their minds about what is happening to me and what I need to do. Now, like I said, what works with one person may not work with another person. So we are trained to have different strategies, different tips and tricks to help a person through that period. Does a divorce coach tell you not to divorce? A divorce coach doesn't. Does a divorce coach tell you to divorce? A divorce coach doesn't. A divorce coach helps you to find a place where you are saying to yourself, yes, it's time to go. Or yes, I believe that there's still hope inside this relationship. And so a divorce coach then counsels you through that period and of course beyond that period.
A divorce coach counsels you through that period and beyond it. I'm hearing the word healing. I'm hearing the word wholesome. Sometimes some people leave the marriages, they take a walk. I hear things like, I just want a break. And they go on that break, guilt tripping themselves. They are still not whole. They are still not healing. Every day they are talking about that guy. Can you remember what he did? Every time you say hello, they'll remember another story about that guy they want to tell you. Is it worth it? Because I'm asking, you said you want a break, but every day you're talking about this guy. You are crying every day. You are lamenting every day. Is that the way to go?
Relationships are built. You don't meet a person one day, fall in love with that person one day, have a 10-year relationship with that person in one day. Relationships are built. Relationships crack gradually. It is not just one event that makes a relationship crack. So it is right. A person, to be honest, a person who is going through that is actually healing. It might sound counterintuitive, but such a person is actually healing. Now, even in our counseling, we probably say don't repeat the story, but you need to repeat the story. You need to wash it out of your system. So when the
Mm.
person says, I want to take a break, you are taking a break and you are reminding yourself, as it were, that this is why I took that break. Now, how to now use that to move forward in life is what a counselor helps you with.
Mm.
So there's nothing
Mm.
wrong with talking about it. It's just that one has to be careful where you talk about it. It's not everybody that needs to hear your story. It's not everybody that you need to complain to. It's not everybody that honestly sees it from your perspective. And so we usually say that when you get into that position, there are certain people that should leave your inner caucus.
Mm.
So, for instance, if I am going through a divorce, or if somebody were going through a divorce, the first thing I would say to such a person is, one, your circle of confidential friends now, not social friends, but the people you talk to, your circle has to reduce. You have to be careful who you are sharing your story with. Nobody is saying don't share your story, because you need to share your story. You need to talk about your story. You need to remind yourself in your psyche that this is why I left. That's
Mm.
different from that's different from bad mouthing your spouse, which is what I'm saying.
So I'm still on this. So somebody says to me, I think this marriage is toxic. This guy will kill me one day. So I've gone my way. I'm separating. And I heard that once I'm away for 2 years from that man, I'm as good as divorced. Is that true?
No. Even if you are away for 10 years, you're not as good as divorced. You are the best, you are at the best, you are separated.
Really? Wow. Some people need to hear that. I've heard that a lot. Once you're away for 2 years or 3 years, even the law says you are separated, and so that is it.
No.
Wow. Wow. It's very quiet in the house today because I know a lot of people are like, this is a topic nobody wants to talk about. But we are facing it, unfortunately, every single day. Even the unfortunately, maybe I should ask you this. It's appearing to me that the more recent marriages are breaking very fast. Why is
Yeah.
that so?
Well, that's because we have a generation that has been built on the pressure cooker.
Hmm.
We have a generation that believes that everything should be fast.
Hmm.
We have a generation that is exposed more than those people who got married 25, 30, 40 years ago. Is it a good thing? Possibly. The only
Hmm.
thing that I think is that we also have a generation that is growing, that is taking decisions so fast. They're not even looking at the foundations of those relationships.
Hmm.
So you find somebody who gets married after 6 months, says, this is what I thought it would be like. And sincerely feels that way. So it's not as if to say they are just being they're just suddenly wanting to go back into the world, as it were, to the unmarried world. It's just that they didn't build the foundation for the relationship in the first place. As you know, you're a family engineer, you know that you must build foundations before you
Yeah.
get married. There are certain foundations that must be built before you start to even think about being married. So first of
Hmm.
all, you need to have the foundation of working on your own self. Then the foundation of this relationship that I am in with my boyfriend and me as his girlfriend. Where are the red flags in this relationship? What are we
Hmm.
doing about these red flags that we have in our relationship? Are they things that I can live with forever? A lot of us do not think about these things. We just think, oh, okay, it's time to be married because everybody is getting married. Everybody is sharing ashwebi, so I must share ashwebi. Everybody is going to their village so that they can carry wine for me. It goes beyond that, beyond the party of the day. Because this is actually something that you vow to say, I will do forever. And of course, you then get into it after 6 months and you see that, it's what I'm going to do for the next 70 years. No. So that's why it
Wow.
appears as if they are getting divorced very fast these days. And then also, there's also the issue of the women are earning as much as the men these days. So they're getting to a point now where they're saying to themselves, I don't really need this man. I can do without a man. There is IVF now. So the ladies now are just going into a sperm bank, getting pregnant, and choosing that these are my children. They don't need a father. And indeed,
Wow.
I must say, the men folk too have not necessarily been I don't want to use the word fair, but they've not necessarily been role models for children. So you ask yourself, well, so why should I bother? Why can't I just go to a sperm bank, get anybody's sperm, have children, and my brothers and my uncles will play father role.
Wow. Wow. I never thought about that side before, really. And but it's mama, it's like we're getting it twisted. This generation, we're just like going further south in these matters. There's so many children like, well, I really don't need a father. Like somebody is saying, I don't really need a father. But from your experience in family systems engineering, I'm looking for how to coin it. How do we arrest this situation? Because we started with saying God doesn't want us to divorce, but doesn't want us to die in that marriage. How do we arrest it even from the beginning? So
Let
that
me ask you a question, and I
yes,
know there
ma'am.
is an answer for it. Does God want us to marry?
Oh, another level. Another level. Does God want us to marry? Well, marriage, yes, God wants us to marry, but not also want everybody to. Everybody won't get married. To be fair, everybody won't get married. Paul never got married and he enjoyed himself. The Reverend Fathers are doing so well. The Reverend Sisters are doing so well. So, yes, maybe it's the first question to ask. God wants me to marry. Hey, that's a research question, I must admit.
Because we all say, like I said, we all think I must be married. We all think it's time to marry. So when my 30-year-old or my 35-year-old daughter is not yet married, I start to go to fast and pray. My daughter starts to worry that nobody's asking her to marry. But have we even set the foundations for marriage? Do our children sincerely understand the implication of marriage? It's like saying, I'm going to work, and I don't know the implication of going to work. I don't know that my boss isn't going to sit there and tell me each time, you haven't written that letter, you haven't taken that phone call, you haven't done this. I must do it. So what are my foundations for work? I must get up early in the morning to get dressed, to take the bus or my car or however or the train or whatever it is it takes you to work, or my bicycle, whatever it is that takes you to work. It is a discipline that I must learn before I can work. And nobody teaches me that in school. So in the same way too, if I'm going to get married, nobody's experience is duplicated. So there must be certain foundations that I must learn about marriage. Otherwise, I am probably putting myself in a pit hole that I will quickly want to get out of.
So the question really is, why are you even getting married? Understand the why of marriage and go into it with a clear understanding of what marriage is all about. And that speaks to us parents as well. Let's not put pressure on our children when they're not getting married yet. Yes, we want grandchildren. Yes, we want to see them around getting married. We want to be there and dance on their wedding day. But let's not put pressure on them. Let's lay the foundation right. But let's come back to the issue of divorce again. We talked about separation. Somebody just, I mean, just very true. Today we have many families that are separated. One is in Canada, the other is in Nigeria. One is in UK, the other is in Nigeria. One is in the north, the other is in the south. And they are separated for years. So sometimes they travel with the mindset of, don't worry, when I get there, you get your visa and you come along. And then suddenly,
They are still married.
hmm,
They are not separated.
they are still married, even though they have been for years.
Even though they haven't lived together for 2 or 3 years, as long as it is with consent of both parties. So, for instance, you know, there's this popular one of Omugo, they call it, when somebody's child
Yes.
gets, when somebody's
Yeah.
child has a baby and the mother goes off for 2 years. By the time she's stayed 2 years, the daughter is pregnant again, so she has to stay on. For as long as the father is still in communication with his wife and they are still lovey-dovey over the telephone, it is not a separation.
Love from a distance.
So for a man who goes to Canada and says, when I get there, I will do your visa so that you can come, they are not separated.
That's interesting. So they are not separated, they are
There has
still
to be
married.
there has to be that intention that I don't want to marry you again. So like a
So to be
woman who leaves her
separated.
home. So a woman who leaves her home and says, I've had enough of this, I'm gone, is separated. Because it is very clear that she's not intending to come back or be reunited. So all this 2-year rule that everybody is talking about is not about, with this 2-year rule that we are talking about is only when the parties know we are separated. And even then, if you've been separated after 2 years, you still have to go to court to get a decree of divorce. You cannot divorce yourself. A mediator cannot do it. Only a high court judge can do it.
So you cannot divorce yourself. Yes, you are separated. Separation is when the intention is to be separated, not because of visa or challenges of life or something. The intention must be
the intention must be there. Yes.
So when we talk about both parties, what if one did not agree for the separation? So the husband did not want it, the woman carries her load and say whether you want it or not.
So the separation has started. If the man says, no, I don't want us to be, and the woman says, me, I'm separating from you, I've had enough, the separation has started.
But I like this one, that some people are together physically, but in principle, they are strangers. In principle, they are separated. They are strangers. They're just there. They are housemates. What are we saying about those ones?
They are separated. Because once there isn't they don't have the incidences of marriage, like maybe they are in the same house, one lives in one bedroom, the other in another bedroom, they don't have a common pot, they don't talk, or when they talk they have to talk because they have to lock the door, kind of thing. They don't have any intimacy, they don't have any friendship between themselves any longer. I won't use his car, even if I have to walk to the road to get a bus because my car has spot. If I have a flat tire, it's not likely to help me to get my flat tire. Then, even though we are living under the same roof, we are divorced. Now, what that is called constructive desertion, because then whoever caused that situation to happen is said to have deserted his marriage.
Hmm. Wow. We're here to learn. So we're learning constructive decision. So let's come into divorce. That space, it's a lot of pain. No matter how much the lady is saying, I don't want this man again, or the man is saying, I don't want this woman again, when the process actually begins, it's a lot of pain. What is the right way to quit? So we
Ah,
have agreed. What's the right way to quit?
I don't understand that question. Pack your
Ah,
bags and
so
leave.
but going through the court process, it's relieving those hurts, it's relieving the pain. A lot of people don't want to go exposing themselves, going to stand before a court and begin to give witness against and all of that. So they don't want to do that.
There are many ways to avoid that. As I always say, there's no point washing your dirty linen in a court. Whatever your dirty linen is, it can be mediated. Now, the place of mediation is to find an alternative to litigation. The role of the court in a divorce is to say, I hereby dissolve this marriage which was solemnized on so and so day. That's the role of the court. It's possible to get to court and not to wash your dirty linen in public. When there is now, unfortunately, in our own system here, legal system here, there has to be a marital offense. It's only in England and maybe some other jurisdictions that there doesn't need to be a marital offense. But in Nigeria, there has to be a marital offense. It could be that your spouse has not even had sex with you since you started the marriage. It could be that you have lived apart for 2 years and the other party does not mind. You have separated for 2 years and the other party does not mind that there's a divorce. It could be that you have lived apart for 3 years, in which case, whether he minds or not, you will get your divorce. It could be desertion. It could be infidelity. Now, some of them are okay. Like if you're relying on living apart for 3 years, even though it may have been acrimonious, you can mediate and decide that, you know what, let's not wash our dirty linen in public. Let's just go to court and say we have been separated for 3 years. Of course, don't lie. We have been separated for 3 years and we want a divorce. No judge will ask you beyond that.
Hmm.
If you say
Hmm.
we have been separated for 2 years and my spouse does not mind for us to be divorced, no judge will ask you beyond that.
Hmm.
So
But what if, man? Let me watch it a bit, man. Before you go, what if we get to court and the guy says or the lady says, "I still want this marriage. In fact, you've gone away for 3 years, but in actual fact, I've been missing you. Actually, wanted you and the children back."
two
What
years,
happened?
yes, but 2 years, yes, but not 3 years.
So if it's 3 years, what happens?
You can't. Once he insists he wants the divorce, he gets it.
Ah, ah,
But if it's
wow.
2 years, the court will then say, all right, I give you 6 months to go and see if you can reconcile.
Hmm.
But if it's
Hmm.
3 years and the man says, I don't want to even see the shadow of this woman, it's gone.
Wow. So when a couple is divorced, it's a touchy one. And there's a societal pressure, which is why a lot of people stay in the home. There's societal pressure. People look at you and say, oh, this one has left the husband's house, or this one, the wife has left him. How do you counsel such people? Because
But
the
it's true.
society is not kind on divorced people, really.
Society is not kind on divorced people, but really, society is not kind on anybody. And you know, for as long as we look at it that society is not kind on me because I'm divorced, you will never have confidence to move forward. Society is unkind to everybody. When you are doing well, society is unkind to you. And until we get into that mindset to say that I am not the only one this thing is happening to, we will not have confidence to go ahead. Society is not kind to a woman who's losing weight. They will say, you are putting on. Society is not kind to a woman who's losing weight. They'll say, Shekosi. I'm sorry to use local
Yes.
language. Society is not kind to anybody about anything. If you make a lot of money, society will say you stole it. If you behave badly and unfortunately your parents got divorced, they'll say it came from a broken home. If you do well, in your studies, society will say, are you the only one? I'm talking from experiences that I've heard. Society is not kind. So the first person who needs to be kind to you is you.
True.
You are the one who needs to be kind to yourself. So the fact that one is divorced and society will always say. So that's why you need to build up your self-esteem. Society, if you stay in the marriage and you're not happy there, society will talk. If you leave the marriage, society will talk. We must get to the point where society shouldn't matter in our decisions. And that's why I say you are the only one who's wearing the shoe. You are the only one who knows where it pinches.
Very true. Society should not determine what you do. Be kind to yourself. So before I let you go, I still want to go back to this issue of 2 years and 3 years. What is the difference? Why is it 3 years, then the court, but 2 years it can still be? What is this thing about 3 years?
All right, let me make it simple for you. When a couple have decided they are separated, they need 3 years separation to get an automatic divorce. When I say automatic, you still must go to court. You cannot get a divorce without going to court. But they need 3 years separation to automatically get that order from court. So, for instance, if your husband sues you in court and says, oh, she's unfaithful, she was unfaithful to me, and that was why we separated after 3 years, she did this, in fact, she had a child for another man, I'm just trying to think of the worst that can happen. She behaves in bad ways, she does this, she does that, and we've been separated for 3 years. So I want damages for this, I want damages for that, and I want a divorce. You won't get any damages because you've been separated for 3 years. You won't get even damages for your wife's adultery because by the time you are separated for 3 years, that adultery has taken place and is already 3 years. So let me help you with that part of adultery, because we're not talking about adultery, but I don't want to confuse your viewers. When a person alleges adultery, goes to court on the basis of adultery, the adultery must have taken place 3 years, less than 3 years before you bring the action in court. So if your wife has a child for another man, and then you are waiting until maybe 3 years after the child is born, you have lost out. The reason being that She must have committed the, it is assumed that she committed the adultery 9 months before the child was born. So by the time the child is 2 years and 3 months, you cannot take her to court. But that's not your question. I'm just clarifying that one about adultery.
Yes.
But when you have been separated for only 2 years, you will only go to court and say, we have been separated for 2 years, but my spouse does not object to the divorce. If he too wants to go, of course he will agree. But you see, that spousal agreement, when it is 3 years, you don't need it. Now, why would a spouse not agree after 2 years? Just maybe sometimes just to punish the other lady or the other party. Sometimes maybe because he genuinely believes that there's still a possibility of reconciliation. Sometimes it could actually be because he thinks, what will society say that I'm divorced? So usually, for those who don't want to wash their, maybe the man says, I don't want to wash her dirty linen in public. Just wait for 3 years. Mind you, you cannot be seen with a woman in public in that
time. Ew, this thing is more complex than we think. You cannot be seen with another person in public within those 3 years. You know what? Just get it right and don't go this route of divorce. Is a better way to go. Start right, build right, and enjoy it. It's just the better way to go. Maybe my final question to you before, let's talk about this might be a lot, but acrimony, does it happen in Nigeria?
It happens everywhere. What is acrimony? Acrimony is about when it's a fight. Or I don't understand what you mean.
Yes, I thought Nigerians, we are so careful. We don't want anything. We are concerned about our name. We are concerned about family. We are concerned about all of these things. That a lot of times we will rather die in silence.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I believe that there are more people in the divorce courts than family practitioners like to admit. In 2021, I think it was, I was very actively doing a lot of divorces in court. And there was this case that was brought to me on the 29th of January. Now, in every court, when a wife brings the divorce, you have WD is written on it, which is wife divorce, because it is wife division. And then HD is husband division. I think it's just for their records, because everything goes into the same court. And it was HD, it was her husband that was suing her. 29th or 27th of January, her number was 4,535. That means that in that January, 4,534 men had already sued.
Wow.
So it's not, there's a lot more divorce in courts than we understand, than we accept.
Wow.
That was just one division in Lagos State. I know that it's only Abuja, Port Harcourt, Lagos that have the highest numbers of divorce cases in courts. But if in one division out of 4 in Lagos, or 5, or 3, 5, if in one division out of 5 in Lagos, by 27th of January, had 4,500 in the husband division, and the wife division is always higher because more women bring divorces, then you can imagine the amount of divorce that is happening. I can only speak for Lagos confidently because I live in Lagos. You can
Hmm.
imagine the number. Sometimes at the end of the year, you have over 10,000 men, 20, 15,000 men who have brought actions against their wives in one
Hmm.
year. And of
Wow.
course, the women's number is higher. So
Hmm.
it's time to talk divorce. People do not want to, people do not really want to talk about divorce. It is something you don't want to, it's like a Nicodemus kind of discussion. People don't want the world to know that I'm getting divorced. A stigma is attached to being divorced. But the time will come when it will no longer be.
Hmm.
The time
Wow.
will come when that stigma will no longer be.
Hmm.
Because, like you said, this new generation,
Wow. 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 I think. Okay.
they're going ahead as if to say it's okay to divorce. And that's why I say
Hmm.
until the foundations are laid, until foundations are laid, we cannot but close our eyes to the fact of divorce.
Wow. 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 Wow.
But is it to
Ha.
divorce? No, it is not to divorce. It is to understand where I'm coming from. What can I
Hmm.
do to save my marriage? Or what should I do?
Exactly.
Or what should I do so that my marriage doesn't get to the place of default?
Hmm.
Because
Wow.
when our marriages get to the place of, it's better for it not to get there. Because when it gets there, it's difficult to bring it back. Words have been spoken, actions have been taken that linger on the mind of the other person.
Hmm. Wow. I thought this was going to be a very short conversation, but we've gone way past the regular time. I thought we might have to just come back again to look at it maybe a bit deeper. I want to ask you from another thing I want to ask you, maybe I'll keep it, is the issue of alimony. It's more common outside the country. Does it
Yes, because
happen?
we don't have alimony in Nigeria. It's
We
not part
don't
of
have
our
alimony in Nigeria. Hmm.
alimony isn't part of our law. But unfortunately, our women want to write alimony into our law by force, and nobody's going to do that for them. That's why they always feel that, oh, my lawyer hasn't done well for me, or I haven't been properly advised. There is no alimony in the law of Nigeria. There is maintenance for the children. There's settlement for the children.
Hmm.
But there is no alimony in the word is not even alimony. The word is maintenance. And that
Hmm.
is for the children. But there is no alimony in Nigeria. I know a lot of lawyers will tell you, we'll go and we'll get a settlement. Yes, there's something called settlement, which is maybe there's property jointly owned or jointly built, in which case then you can then say, all right, I'll get a settlement for you because you are at home looking after the children. But it's a settlement. Alimony is a continuous payment. A settlement is a one-time payment. That's the
Hmm.
best that anybody can get for you under the law in Nigeria.
Wow, you have opened our eyes to so much. I'm going to have to let you go. But at another time, I will still
You
come
can
back to
see
this.
my office people are calling me already.
I really have to let you go. Your final word as I let you go off today. Let me take your final word, ma.
Well, my final word is this, that when you hear about a divorce coach doesn't help you to divorce. Nobody helps you to divorce. Let's go back. When is it time to quit? Sislawyer cannot tell you the time to quit. But you know what? Because we all enter into marriages ignoring red flags, you need somebody to help you to meander this road of bad foundations. And it is bad foundations that cause toxic relationships. So always think to yourself, how can I make my marriage work better? I have an ebook, 25 Ways to Save My Marriage. I'll send it to you and you can send it to your members here.
Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much, Ma. I really appreciate your coming into the studio and sharing all of this information with us. Thank you so much. Someday I'll be back, but for now, I'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of the week, and thank you so much for
Thank,
coming, Ma.
thank you. Bye bye now.
Bye, Ma. Wow, that was so much. I honestly thought it was one of the shortest episodes we were going to have, but then it's end up being one of the longest that we have had in recent times. But we are still going to have to revisit this, and sometime again, not might not be with Sislawyer, but with somebody else. We need to lay the foundations right. We don't have to go through divorce. Like she rightly said, red flags. We see these red flags over and over, ignore them. And what was not material before becomes matters arising when we get into the home. All of us have a responsibility to help any single person around you understand what marriage is all about. And let's build the right foundation. Divorce does not need to be an option. You don't need to even think divorce. It should not even come near you if you build the right foundation. So that is it for today. And thank God for the ebook. So for all my viewers on the call that has sent in a comment, all the other, you have a gift of an ebook. I will reach out to you and send you that ebook, 25 Ways to Save My Marriage. And for those that didn't pass a comment, I'm sorry, but if you reach out to me via a chat or direct message or whatever, I will also send you the book. A big thank you to Sislawyer for giving us that book. It's donation galore. I'm happy for that. But for every one of us, please understand, we all have the responsibility to build solid homes around us. Divorce doesn't need to be an option. You don't have to quit that marriage if you lay the foundation right. And until I come your way in another edition of Knocks to Nuggets, same time next week, don't ever forget it. If you can think it, you can be it, and you can have it. But before I sign off, thank you so much to everyone that has been on this call. Thank you for those conversations, it's helped. And thank you to everyone that will watch thereafter. Remember, like the video, share it, let somebody out there know that there is something called Knocks to Nuggets. And until I come your way next week, I love you. Bye for now.